You're listening to The Monetized Mom, the podcast that teaches moms of faith how to monetize their expertise online to create influence, impact, income, and more importantly, financial independence. I'm your host, Flo Alexander. Let's chat. Hey mama, if you are tuned into this episode, you're probably looking to grow your coaching business. Well, you are in luck. I just released a new training on how to launch a high-ticket program that clients will pay thousands for, even if you don't have your program created. Now, you can access it now at themonetizedmom.com/training. That's themonetizedmom.com/training. Again, that's themonetizedmom.com/training. Now, let's get on with the show. Well, hello, everybody. It has been a minute since I have recorded a standalone podcast episode. You guys know that I go live every Thursday, and so I'm usually repurposing that content for podcast episodes, but I just wanted to stop back in and do a podcast episode that is solely for the podcast and to kind of give an update because I think this is what I'm going to be doing going forward. I got away from podcast for whatever reason. I think just the season of life I was in, it was just easier to just download audio from the live stream, send it on over to the editor, get it done and upload it so that I can continue creating content at the rate that I was. But I took a little break this week and got to clear my mind, was unplugged from the business side of things. And so I think one of the things that I'm going to do going forward is to come back to these podcast episodes where I'm just talking because that is truly what I enjoy. And I feel like the podcast episodes before were great. Like the information is amazing. And if you want that, then I would definitely recommend joining the live streams over at the Flo Alexander on Instagram and within the Facebook group. So you can access that at floalexander.com/group. That's where I'm going to go live. And you can get all those great lessons. The podcast is going to be the last place where those episodes go, those recordings go, because I really want to prioritize just having conversations. This is what the podcast was built on, and I want to get back to it because I really enjoy these types of episodes. So with that said, I wanted to kind of do a recap of Q'2 and kind of share where things are right now. So this podcast episode might be all over the place, but hey, it's a conversation. So we are currently in Q3, middle of July at this point, and so last quarter was Q'2. And it actually marked a year of me making the Monetized Mom public. So for those of you who don't know, the program has existed before the public has known it. In fact, I have been doing coaching since 2017, both financial and business coaching. And one of the reasons that I actually started the Monetized Mom was because I kept getting a lot of my friends, associates or whatever, coming to me with issues that they were having in their business. So they had spent significant amount of money with other coaches, other programs, other courses, and then they would come to me and they were like, well, I need help with this. I'm missing this. I did the program, but they didn't really talk about this. Can you help me with this? So I found myself helping so many people within their business, but never really solidifying it into an offer for myself. And so one day I was like, you know what? I'm tired of people paying these other coaches and these other programs all this money, but they're still coming to me and only really paying a fraction of it. So I was like, I'm going to package everything that they came to me for into a program that I can offer for myself. And so that's what I did. And I officially launched it to the public last June. So it's been a year, and it's been interesting because obviously I've been in business longer than a year. So I've been able to see the progression of business and how, it takes to grow a business. And so it was like starting all over this year, because everyone has known me as Flo Alexander from Mama and Money, the financial educator, right? And so this was a completely new launch, a new brand, a new side of the business where people are getting to know me as the coach, the marketing and sales kind of strategist. I'm kind of, wavering between whether I want to even still be called a coach as much as more so than a strategist, because I really just do strategy really. But nonetheless, people didn't know me in that regard, and I was really nervous actually to launch the business publicly. I actually had a page just dedicated to the Monetized Mom. So if you've been hanging around the podcast for a while, then you know the Monetized Mom has its own Instagram page. It has its own website. But then Facebook shut me down with my ads. And so I was forced to actually use my Bo Alexander main like Instagram page that I had been growing for a couple of years and use that for my business. So talk about being forced to really get out front and share what I was really doing. So nonetheless, it's been a year. And so it's been a completely new brand launch. And so I get to see again, like I almost forgot like the phases that businesses go through when you're actually launching. So this first year for me was really more about learning, doing a lot of pivots, gathering information, getting my messaging nailed down. Everything that I teach my clients that I've done with my previous brand, I had to do it all over again for this brand. So like narrowing down my messaging, getting clear on my perfect client, my ideal client, getting my program, like optimizing that and evolving that. So I actually just did a major update with a program recently, and this is like version 3, and it's so much better, so I can stand confidently behind it and the investment that people have to make to be a part of it. But nonetheless, it was just eye-opening having to go through the journey of launching a new brand again and realizing that this first year is really about learning. So this podcast episode isn't meant to be like a teaching episode, but I will say, just as a word of wisdom to any of you out there who are launching your programs, your business, like the first year is really all about getting your footing. It really is. Like you can use the metaphor or the parallel of having a baby. Like the first year, they're literally just learning how to live life on earth outside of the womb. And so for me, I feel like business is the same way. You're learning how to get your footing. You're learning how to walk. You're learning how to like use your limbs. Like you're trying to figure out how to put everything together so that you can have this fluid motion. And then as you're growing, kind of like a toddler, like you're learning and developing and you're getting better and your skills are refining. So that's the thing I kind of had to relearn this year was like, hey, your first year, yes, I was profitable. And that I think that has a lot to do with my experience, right? So this isn't new to me at all. So I think my experience had a lot to do with it. And because I did have a reputation, even though people didn't necessarily know me or view me as a coach, right? As far as business goes, I did have a reputation behind me. So I will say those things did work in my favor. But it was just interesting starting over, like, thankfully, like I said, I was profitable, which most people don't expect that. I was having a conversation with my CPA and she was like, this is really good for us to have launched a completely different side of the business being profitable. That's a positive thing because most new businesses aren't profitable within the first several years. So we thought of it as, just a whole new business in a sense, but being profitable was very positive. So I know that this year, the second year of this, even though it's not the second calendar year from like January to December, but the second year of actually being public and launching the program to the public is definitely going to be a great year because I'm able to lean on those lessons that I've learned from the last year. Now, with that being said, though, because the first year is all about learning, the data isn't really the best data to use to make predictions, right? So I know that going into this second year, a lot of it's going to be data gathering, and this is going to be more telling of the trends that I will see in my business going forward. So for instance, I'm able to see what are the peak months that I'm getting people applying to the program. What are the peak months for my income? What's the cycle time or sales cycle for it to take for people to actually enroll versus the time that they first engage with my platform or my content or learn of me. So these are all the things that I'm able to really learn more about in the second year. So as I'm going forward, I'm able to more accurately predict those things and plan for those things. So like right now I have a marketing kind of calendar. Like I know within certain months what I need to be doing. Like for most businesses, from my experience, the summer is like a low kind of slow season, right? So I know that from experience. I know that the first quarter is the peak season, right? So some of those things I know from experience. However, I don't know what that looks like specifically for this particular brand. So that's the information and the data that I'm gathering now so that I can make better decisions and be able to predict and forecast going forward. So again, not a teaching lesson, but a word of wisdom. the first year, don't quit. Like, keep going, because you don't even have enough data at that point to make great decisions. And the thing, I actually talked about this a little bit on Threads, because I'm on there. So follow me at Defo Alexander. But I was talking about how a lot of people, unfortunately, are kind of bamboozled when it comes to online business because of this false narrative that marketers are sharing, right? So there is a difference between a marketer who has made money because they know how to market versus someone who actually knows how to run a business. And unfortunately, a lot of marketers who are great with marketing and have made money are giving us this false idea that, hey, yeah, it's normal to make $1 million in your first year. It's normal to hit six figures in your first year, when statistics show that that's not even the case, right? So unfortunately, people have this false false narrative around, the time that it takes to make money and all these things when it comes to business. And so with that said, when you're in your first year, right, don't be down on yourself because you haven't hit consistent 5-figure months. Like, don't be down on yourself because you haven't hit 6 figures. Like, these are all anomalies. And beyond that, like, a lot of these people came out of 2020 when everyone was online, investing in online education, and people had surplus of income from the government. So just take everything with a grain of salt and know that you are not a failure, and you're not failing if within your first year you're not profitable, if within your first year you're not having 100K months or 50K months. Like, for real, like, we got to dispel that narrative that that's what you should expect in your first year. And unfortunately, I've seen it. And honestly, I will admit that I've been hard on myself with this brand. I'm like, man, I want to hit X amount of dollars. Like, I want to hit 6 figures with this brand, and within the year. And I had to take a step back and like chill. So it's like, yeah, it's possible if you want to hustle and like really break your neck. Yeah, it's definitely possible. And I would say, because I have the advantage of having built a business, so I would say my cycle time for doing a lot of things is shortened because I have the experience. But like, I even had to take a step back and be like, whoa, like, who are you letting give you this false narrative and feed you this information that has you thinking that you're failing if you're not hitting a certain milestone? So I had to even take a step back. So just a word of wisdom, like, don't be expecting, $1 million years the first year, or even 6-figure years. I wish people would, like, yes, I'm congratulate the people who were able to accomplish that, even especially the people who were able to accomplish it before 2020. Like, hats off to you, because that was when you really had to market. 2020 was kind of easy breezy, not gonna lie, but but hats off to those people. But also just know that those people are a small minority. And then also, some people be lying. Like, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and she was reading off the statistics, and she was like, it's just not even possible. All these people saying, maybe it wasn't a podcast, I think it was a Facebook post, but nonetheless, she was reading off the statistics, especially when it comes to people of color. Like, such a small percentage of entrepreneurs are people of color, Black people more specifically, and of those, even a small, like, it's like point something percent of people actually have made 7 figures within a calendar year. So just be mindful that a lot of these people be lying. But anyway, I didn't come on here to talk about that. But that was kind of my lesson from Q'2, just having met a year with this brand. It was a relearning experience. Definitely, I learned a lot. I had a lot of frustrations. I made a lot of pivots, but I also had a lot of wins. And I have some of the best clients on the planet, period. And I enjoy what I do, and they enjoy working with me. And so that's the fruit of it, right? That's the part that I love. And I love the fact that, honestly, I'm getting compensated for the things that I wasn't necessarily getting compensated for as much before, over the years where I was helping people. So to be able to package that and for people to see the value in it, it just makes my heart smile. So that's Q'2. So like I said, going forward, I think I'm going to just drop in the podcast and just be podcasting and just be talking, right? I just want to talk. Sometimes I said like a few weeks ago, like, podcasting maybe should be regulated because some people just get on here and say anything. However, I definitely want to share some of my learning experiences and not necessarily always be teaching. Like, let's leave that for the live stream. And if you want to jump on that, then make sure you follow me at the Fo Alexander and join the Facebook group. That's foalexander.com/group to get in the Facebook group. So just FYI, if you've been used to me saying the monetizedmom.com and now all of a sudden you hear me say foalexander.com, you understand why, because Facebook was tripping. So anyway, with that said, I would say another huge kind of breakthrough moment that I've had recently was like, I found myself hustling, y'all. And I am about building a business that supports your life and not having a business that runs your life. But I will tell you, of late, I was like grinding, partially because I had to do updates to the program. So that was a busy week in and of itself. But outside of that, like just not remembering like, girl, this is the first year of this brand. And so I had unrealistic expectations of it. And so I was trying to work to hit these goals that, to be honest, for the first year of my business was really unrealistic. When I say my business, I mean this side of it, right? So it was really unrealistic for me. So I was grinding, trying to make things happen in my own will. And y'all know I'm a believer, and that just don't work like that. So I had recently like really had to relinquish it. And I thought that I did before, but y'all know we be thinking we be surrendering to God, and then we realize that we haven't. So I had a true surrender moment. I'm just like, God is big. Like, God can do anything. So, like, why am I over here stressing? Like, I'm going to give it to you, Daddy. I'm going to give it to you, God. I'm going to give it to you, Father. Like, I'm going to give it to you, and I know you're going to work it out. And so I've done all I can. I have the systems. I have the structure. And so, yeah. And so that was a part of the learning lesson. Is like, one, let's remember this is the first year of this brand. So why do you have these unrealistic expectations? And I think part of it is because of the circle of people that I am. They are high performers. They are doing extremely well. And I forget that I'm usually always the youngest in my group. So I'm like hanging with people who got 5 years on me in their business and even in their life. And I'm just like, why haven't I gotten this? I'm like, child, they 5 years your senior. They 5 years more experienced than you are in this thing. So regardless, I had unrealistic expectations. So I had to relinquish that control and surrender. And I felt such a weight lifted. The fact that I'm actually recording this podcast episode is a result of that. Because today is one of those days where I would have been like, kids home, I'm on my laptop and just doing work. Like, for what? Just, I don't even know what I would have been doing right now. Just busy doing something that really wasn't producing anything. And so now I'm at this place where I'm relaxed, where it's like, okay, my business is going to get like an hour or two per day. And if that, right, the systems are there, like, I just need to let the system work, and I need to be collecting data to understand the seasonality of my business so that I have realistic expectations. So that was something major for me, just relinquishing control and knowing that, hey, I've done the works. I have the faith. Now just let it be. So again, a word of wisdom to you guys is like, if you have the systems and structures in place and you've been doing the things that you've been needing to do, it's just going to be a matter of time. And also, like, you have to understand that business is also seasonal. So don't have these unrealistic expectations when, business is seasonal and everything isn't always going to be on a high. Every month isn't going to be high, and your first year is going to be about learning. So that's what I really wanted to chat about today. I would love to have, continue this conversation with you guys. So if you are on Threads, be sure to follow me on Threads. I feel like that platform is going to be a game changer, at least for me, because it allows me to communicate. Y'all, I hated Twitter. I got rid of Twitter. Like, now, I used to say a decade ago, but it's probably been like 13 years now at this point. It's been years that I got rid of Twitter for personal reasons. And then I just have it. I just, secured my brand names on there. So I do have Twitter accounts for the business, but I don't be tweeting. So I'm so happy and excited about Threads because it feels like a safe space to share thoughts and connect with people that I haven't been able to connect with in a while. Because Instagram, you know what? Instagram has these great features. Like, I love it for the ability to communicate with voice and to meet people, but it also kind of has a barrier. And I feel like Threads removes that barrier. You get to see people and their thoughts real time, and it's not just very curated and polished post with polished captions and images and all that stuff. So That's going to be exciting. So if y'all want to continue this dialogue, then definitely follow me on Threads at @TheFoeAlexander. If you follow me on Instagram, then y'all know it's a quick tap on my inmate number. Just tap on my inmate number on there. I'm not an inmate. Let me not say that. But tap on my Threads number and we can connect there because I would love to chat with you guys. All right. Until next time, I'll talk to you in the next episode. As always, I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode.